I can't believe that all of these 11 fall sewing patterns are free. Welcome to the unofficial part 2 of the fall sewing pattern extravaganza. I wanted to make a secondary video to include 11 fall sewing patterns that again are free. This was shocking for me. It was actually a great exercise to kind of see what independent pattern companies were out there, and I have a couple of these coming up next on my own personal sewing list. So of course, when I sew these items up, I'll definitely show you. Before I jump into everything, I'm Rachel Ann, and this is Dine in Creativity, my sewing channel fully dedicated to the pursuit of creativity as it pertains to sewing and fashion. All of these patterns are linked in the description below, so feel free to just immediately click on that link if you see a pattern that stands out to you. As always, I love classic patterns and styles that persist the test of time. So I really tried to round up a lot of classic fall/winter styles to share with you today. If you've worked with any of these, please don't hesitate to let me know. Also, there is a wealth of information online for many of these patterns. A lot of these pattern companies included full-length videos here on YouTube, tutorials to sew them. You have somebody, the pattern maker themselves, walking you through step-by-step how to sew up one of these gorgeous patterns. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into it. Now, if you watch the movie Clueless and you love the fashion in it, then you're going to love this pattern from Mood Fabrics. This is the Cher jacket in the Dion skirt. It comes from size 00 to a size 32. There are so many cute options in terms of how you could whip this pattern up, but it is so classic in the sense that the little short jacket with the matching skirt, I love a cute set. Who doesn't? A coordinating set. You could easily break the two pieces up and wear them separately. The different kinds of suggested fabrics in terms of working with this pattern are cotton lycra twill, denim, twill, canvas, and corduroy. I would venture to say, because a lot of these patterns don't offer necessarily a rating per se, I'm just going to go ahead and kind of, for some of them, just put my own rating on it based upon the sewing knowledge I have at this point in my sewing journey. I would say the jacket is probably average or beginner advanced, and then the skirt would probably absolutely be beginner friendly. However, they do give complete step-by-step directions on how to work with this pattern. And then, like I've already shared, the comment section on most of these patterns is a alternative wealth of information. Even on this one, there are 9 comments, and they just kind of ask about different aspects of working with the Cher jacket and the Dion skirt. But if you've worked with this Mood Fabric free pattern Cher jacket Dion skirt set, I would love to hear how it went, but I found it to be so cute and just so classic. I mean, you could even just make up the jacket pattern for the fall. Pattern number 2, who doesn't love a classic boxy style turtleneck for the fall? This is a pattern from Tessuti-shop.com. I had never heard of Tessuti fabrics, but I am so glad I did, because this is not the only free pattern that they offer. This one looks like it's definitely very beginner friendly, and it runs from size extra, extra small to an extra, extra large. Most of these patterns, if you dive in a little bit more deeply, they will give you the numerical sizing of what their version of XX small is to XXL. So I just want to throw that out there. They tell us that the recommended fabrics for this project are stretch cotton, wool jersey, viscose jersey, and knits with elastane, lycra, or spandex content. They want that nice stretch so that when you're pulling the turtleneck over your head, you can actually pull it over your head. But this one is so classic, traditional, and cute. I could just see whipping this up multiple times in all different colors. This is definitely one I'm going to keep on my own list. But again, all of these are linked in the description below, and so you can easily just click on the link and see the pattern that you're interested in. Let's move on to yet another pattern company that was new to me. This is Ellie and Mac. Again, This pattern company is so kind enough to give a variety of different free sewing patterns, all different kinds of cute fall and winter sewing projects that are non-clothing related. So if you're into making home decor or gifting people custom Christmas stockings or things of that nature, Ellie and Mac provide, again, a plethora of free sewing patterns. So definitely check it out. But of course, I had to include a traditional loungewear slash pajama set because it was so classic and traditional. So this is the adult classic PJ and nightgown sewing patterns. They run from size extra small to a 6XL. So we have a lot of sizing variation. When you go to look at this pattern, it is so cute. They included all of these different photos from people who have sewn up this pattern before, and I just loved it. It really gives you a great idea on all the different styles that you could do, the different fabrics. Also, Ellie and Mac include an easy sewing tutorial right here on the same page that the pattern printout is located. They suggest flannel, cotton lycra, rayon, fleece, French terry, that would be cute, viscose, satin, silk, and satin-like fabrics. So quite a variety. And then when it's all said and done, there's really about 6 different patterns in one because each style is slightly different. Love that these are free and able to be sewn up. There are so many positive reviews, 167 reviews, and they're 5 stars. If that tells you anything about this Ellie and Mac adult classic PJ and nightgown sewing pattern set. If you have watched my channel before, you know that I love a cute dress, a summer dress, a fall dress, a winter dress. And I came across this absolutely beautiful, it looks very beginner friendly sewing pattern from Rosery Apparel. And it's called How to Make the Perfect Dress. She provides the pattern pieces for sewing up just a classic style pull on over the head style dress. Looks like the waist is gathered. If I'm not mistaken, this one is rated beginner friendly. Maybe I'm just making that up. Now I'm not seeing it on here. But if I had to guess, I would assume it was. She has a full length tutorial, which is amazing. And the sizing runs from a size small to a size large. And these are in Australia sizes, so make sure that you check out the measurements for those sizes, which is included in a separate link on this pattern printout page. This perfect dress almost looks like it is using a rayon or kind of a jersey knit. So it looks like there is some flexibility also in the fabrics that you could use. Again, there is the full YouTube tutorial for this one, so I wouldn't be surprised if she even goes into that more deeply there. But what a classic traditional just throw on and go, easy dress, wear it with knee-high boots, flat boots, little booties for the fall and winter months. Throw a big chunky oversized sweater on top. Endless options abound when it comes to that dress. The great thing about these independent pattern companies are much like the big four patterns is that if you are on social media, namely Instagram, which is what I've really seen to frequently have this available, are that if you type in the pattern name or go directly to the independent pattern company, they will have makes of that particular pattern from people who have sewn it up previously and then tag them. So it's just a great way to see different styles, seek different inspiration, and it's been something I've really enjoyed. So just throwing that out there. Now, you know I had to bounce right on back to Mood Fabrics. By the way, Mood Fabric has a ton of free sewing patterns. I mean, it's actually amazing the amount of sewing patterns they offer through the Mood Sew Society link on their website. There were honestly so many. It was hard for me to slow down and just narrow it down to these. But for the sake of this video, I really was looking for great fall patterns as well as patterns that were beginner friendly to then also advanced. I don't know about you, but once I start working with knits and things of that nature, I need an easy sew. So some of these patterns are more complicated than others, but this one is definitely looks to be very straightforward. This is called the Ischia cardigan, and it is such a fun, slouchy, oversized cardigan with knit fabric. As a side note, they also include that adorable silky pajama set, loungewear set. I didn't include that in this pattern video, but just an honorable mention. If that also strikes your fancy, that is available. They offer that. This one runs in a variety of different sizes from an extra small to a 5XL. So there is quite a sizing variation. The fabric recommendations are jersey, sweater knit, stretch knit fleece. That would be so, so cute. They also went ahead and linked the fabric that they used, which was a rayon jersey. And how cozy and cute would that be? I know that the Ischia cardigan, I might not be saying that correctly, but I'm going to say Ischia. I know that the Ischia cardigan is featured here almost as a luxurious loungewear set, but what a cute cardigan, even just to throw on over a white fitted t-shirt, jeans, belt the jeans, wear your boots or your little tennis shoes, and then you have this great cardigan to kind of pull the whole outfit together. So many endless options on how to style this cute pattern. Okay, I may have gone a little full throttle with these next three patterns. They're all from the same pattern company. I'll be honest with you, I had never heard of it, and there were so many amazing patterns. It was truly hard for me to narrow them down to these three, but I did. If you have worked with Unfettered Patterns before, I'd love to hear how it went. I'd love to hear how your experience was, because they offer the cutest, most stylish sewing patterns that honestly, there's one, it is next on my sewing list. I cannot wait to work with it and sew it up. So you know I'll show you what the end result is. This is the front tie top, and I found it to be so perfect for these fall months. What a great transitional piece to add to your closet. Who doesn't love that little tie front top? And then they have kind of those oversized sleeves on there. So cute. This one runs from a size extra small to an extra large. They do include all of those measurements here in the pattern guide. I will share that the finished garment measurements, it tells us that the extra small is 39.5 inches for the bust, and the extra large is 48.5 inches bust. There are so many tips that Unfettered Patterns provides for this easy breezy tie front long sleeve top, and they suggest going for natural fibers like cotton, silk, or linen. This project is also rated easy to sew and perfect for beginners, so we love that. Also, this is one where this may be the base layer, but then you could have your cute Ischia cardigan to throw over, or some kind of knit chunky sweater cardigan to throw over, wear it with boots, even a long maxi skirt, you're good to go. Moving on to the second Unfettered Patterns free pattern, and this is the bell sleeve sweater. Okay, this one is next on my list. I love a bell sleeve. I find it to be so classic. Despite being also retro, it remains timeless in my opinion, especially for a cute fall and winter sweater. So this one actually runs from an extra small again to an extra large. The extra small finished garment measurements are 37.5. So that's a little oversized, I would say, for an extra small. And then the extra large is 46.5 inches for the bust. Those are the bust measurements. They tell us that this is going to be a rather loosely fitted sweater. They also encourage you to consider a fabric that has a good amount of stretch. And honestly, in my mind, I see this bell sleeve sweater with a pair of bell-bottom jeans, maybe even a pair of oversized jeans. The little Dion skirt would be so cute, little short A-line mini skirt or knee-length skirt with some stockings, flat booties. Oh my gosh, the options abound. Can you tell I'm really getting excited about fall sewing? I cannot wait. Last but not least, when it comes to a free fall sewing pattern, particularly from Unfettered Patterns, is the Shacket. This is an oversized flannel shacket, so it's a mix between a shirt and a jacket. If you watched my previous Big Four fall sewing pattern video, you know I also included a shacket. I think it was from McCall's. However, I couldn't believe that this is a free Shacket sewing pattern. So if you're in the market to try to branch out a little bit, but you don't want to necessarily buy that particular McCall's Big Four pattern I shared, what a great way to try something new and then also not break the bank purchasing this pattern. So the sizes for this one also run from an extra small to an extra large. For the finished garment measurements, the bust for the extra small is 44 inches. The extra large is 53 inches. So this is an oversized shacket, which is traditional to what a shacket is. How cute would this be in a gorgeous flannel, a plaid flannel? They even talk about using a corduroy, which I think would be gorgeous for a shacket. I don't know why that hasn't crossed my mind, but I may have to try to whip that up this fall or winter sewing season. I could see this being maybe an advanced beginner friendly project or an intermediate project, because just my opinion, the more pattern pieces you get involved, the more complicated and sometimes confusing the sewing pattern can get. But this is definitely one classic shacket. You can't go wrong with it. The next one is from Coraline Street. This is a box pleated skirt. Again, free PDF sewing pattern guide. This one has 4 different reviews and all 5 stars, which is amazing. I find a box pleated skirt to be one of the most classic pieces you can ever dream of. When have we not seen a pleated skirt at some point over the summer, the fall, or the winter? Depending on the fabric for this one that you chose to use, I think it's easily transferable to a fall sewing pattern. This one runs from a size 0 to a size 20. It also includes a full sewing tutorial by the pattern maker herself, Coraline Street, which I always find to be extremely helpful and just nice that people do that just to preemptively answer any questions or just help walk somebody through. Again, this one's rated easy and beginner friendly. It's one that's definitely on my list. I just could see it in a black, thicker cotton sateen for the fall, maybe even a solid colored plaid fabric that wasn't too thick, because again, you don't want to add too much chunkiness to that waistband. So I'm going to have to explore some different fabric options, but I had to include it because who doesn't love a box pleated maxi skirt? We got to move on back to mood fabric. I found the last 2 patterns for this video. The second to last one is called the Peony Blouse. I thought it was perfect for a fall top, a fall sewing project. I mentioned this in my previous video, Big Four sewing patterns. The one gap I always notice are tops. And so I'm constantly on the hunt for cute tops. And this one just very much fits the bill for a great fall sewing pattern. They recommend using bamboo or even a velour knit as another option outside of this stretch poly crepe that they used, potentially even a rayon jersey. But I am just so crazy about this slouchy, kind of oversized, dropped shoulder top, especially with a velour or kind of a velvet fabric. How beautiful would that be for the fall and winter months? This is certainly one that's also on my list because it's so classic. I mean, that little wrap style front, it's got the stretch waistband at the bottom or a waistband at the bottom. There are also 45 comments on this particular pattern, and I'm just seeing really quickly Okay, yeah. People are asking about alternative fabrics that they could use, potentially a silk touch fabric. And it was answered that yes, that would be lovely. Does it have shoulder pads in it? No, but you could add some. I mean, so if you have alternative questions, again, I encourage you to check those comments because there may be a good chance that your question has already been asked and answered. Somebody asked about adding a side invisible zipper and if you could make this pattern in a fabric with no stretch. I was actually kind of wondering that myself. And then it was answered that yes, you absolutely could. So you can put your own twist on some of these patterns, but if you're looking for more guidance, the comment section is a wealth of information. Last but not least, I keep saying that this one's also on my list. We always run into the problem as a creative person. I'm sure you can relate. So many ideas, so many plans, but I need about 6 more sets of hands on me, and I need about 6 to 10 more hours in the day to get this all done. The Valerie vest and the Penelope pants free sewing pattern. If this isn't fall to a T or classic and timeless, I don't know what is. I love, love, love the style of these pants. I always find them to be universally flattering for a variety of different body types. The way that they taper in at the waist and then ever so slightly flare out at the bottom. Not bootleg, but more so just a flowy leg. Then you have the adorable vest that you can belt. I'm sure you could use a variety of different belts. In fact, I had gotten, speaking of belts, I was even thinking in terms of making this, these great little belt clasps from Amazon. I link these on my Amazon storefront. And so if you are in the market for making a little slide belt this year, those were so fun to work with. And my belt for a red dress I sewed up, it turned out beautiful because of that. Anyways, I just saw the belt here and they have it featured as a tie belt, but how cute would a little clasp belt be too? So they used a medium weight linen woven. The linen would be gorgeous. If it was a medium weight or even slightly heavy weight for the fall months, I think you could get away with it. But then you wouldn't be able to wear it in the winter. And what I envision, and also they suggest an alternative recommended fabric, are wool suiting, cotton twill, linen twill, and then a polyester silk blend. But that wool suiting, how beautiful would that be? You could dress this outfit up, you could dress it down, you could wear a white turtleneck, fitted turtleneck underneath it for the winter months. So many cute options. It also comes from a size 00 to a size 32. Quite a wide variety in the size range. If you've worked with this pattern, I'd love to hear how it went in particular, because to me, it's so timeless at the risk of being redundant. Timeless, classic, and very fashionable. Again, I can't believe that all of these patterns are free. That's amazing. This was so much fun to kind of pull together some of these 11 classic and timeless fall sewing patterns. If one caught your eye, please let me know which one it was. I'm very interested to hear if you have one on your upcoming list, if you have ever worked with one of these patterns. I do have a couple different fall, more like summer to fall transitional sewing projects to share with you. 2 patterns that I was able to work with that I could not recommend more. That will be coming up in the next week or so. But wherever you are in your sewing journey, whether you're finishing up your summer sewing, you're starting on the fall sewing projects like I am, I hope that life is treating you well. I hope your sewing journey is going great. As always, I hope you're taking great care of yourself in general. Happy, happy sewing and creating, and be well.